I was taken. The traffickers forced me to live with pigs. All I wanted was to move my car downstairs. How did I end up like this?
Shut your mouth, you wretch.
Mary slapped the girl next to me hard. The girl fell to the ground, sobbing in pain. When I woke up, I was already on this truck packed with girls. The truck was pitch dark around, with only a faint light leaking from the front. The weak light barely illuminated our faces, allowing me to see what Mary looked like. Mary was the one who had just called me to move my car. I had just finished my shower when I received a call from an unknown number. She said my car was blocking hers and asked me to move it because her young son was sick and she needed to rush to the hospital. Although I was puzzled since there were no cars on either side when I parked, her anxious tone made me go downstairs. While talking to her, someone suddenly covered my mouth and nose with a cloth from behind. When I woke up, I was here. My first thought was, I had been taken.
Linda, please let me go home. My family has money. I can give you money. I promise I won't tell anyone. I won't call the police. I can give you as much money as you want.
Once you're on my truck, there's no going back. If you cry and swell your eyes, making it hard for the buyers, I'll sell your organs instead. Whether you want to live or have your organs sold, it's up to you.
The truck drove for an unknown amount of time before finally stopping. We were taken off the truck one by one. Surrounding us were many burly men with fierce expressions, some even had thick wooden sticks tucked into their belts. I couldn't help but shiver.
Treat these girls well. If you damage them and they can't be sold for a good price, I won't let you off. Of course, if any of them are too stubborn, show them who's boss.
I initially thought these were the buyers, but they were here to check if we were still virgins. Some girls couldn't bear the ordeal and tried to run. But how could these frail girls outrun the burly men? They were quickly caught and beaten with sticks in front of us, each blow seemingly intended to be fatal.
I was wrong.
The screams pierced everyone's ears. Those men were used to it, but the rest of us girls were trembling with fear. With such a precedent, we could only let the men drag us into the house, roughly stripping off our clothes. In the cramped, poorly ventilated room, a man pulled me onto a chair, forcefully spreading my legs as wide as they could go. He shone a flashlight between my legs. The intense shame made me grip the chair legs tightly. I turned my head and accidentally met the eyes of another girl. It was the girl who had been slapped earlier, her face still bearing a clear handprint. I saw her tears streaming down, and realized my own face was wet too. I was crying as well.
This batch is pretty good, all virgins. Looks like we're going to make a fortune today. Haha.
Yeah. I can't wait to get the money and go to the city to splurge.
After the inspection, we were locked in a small room, waiting for the buyers to choose. The one who bought me was Tom. He wore a tattered polo shirt with the words, "Fight against human trafficking," printed on it. Disgusting, truly disgusting.
50,000.
Didn't we agree on 30,000? Why the increase?
She's pretty and has wide hips, sure to give birth to a son. Sons are valuable. If you don't want her, don't block others from buying. Buy! 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 How could I not buy if she can give birth to a son?
So, the 50,000 went into Mary's woven bag. And I was taken home by Tom. As soon as the door opened, a stench hit me, making it hard to keep my eyes open. The mud house had only a large dirt bed and a tattered green military blanket, with 3 pigs nearby. Pig manure covered the floor. Brother. Is this our wedding room?
It's your room, not mine. Behave and don't think about running away, and I'll take you to the new house.
Brother, I won't run. I'll be a good wife.
Who believes you? Everyone says that.
He pushed me hard into the room and quickly shut the door. When my feet touched the sticky pig manure, my sanity shattered. I pounded on the wooden door. Brother, I really won't run. Let me out. Brother. Please. The 3 pigs, bigger than me, approached. In the dim, filthy room, surrounded by pig manure and pigs with unknown substances on their mouths, I screamed. The pigs, frightened, ran around, splattering me with manure. For the past few days, I've been resting in a spot with less pig manure because the large pit was the territory of the big pigs, and I didn't dare to get close. Tom brought food that was spoiled, and the pigs would fight me for it. After a few days, I was so hungry that I saw stars, and I was filthy, covered in pig manure. I leaned weakly against the door, calling out in a feeble voice. But I didn't even know what I was shouting.
Have you decided to spend your life with me? If you have, I'll let you out.
I nodded weakly.
Yes, yes.
The will to survive is so fragile. When I went out, I had a handful of pig manure in my hand. Seeing Tom, I went crazy and smeared the manure on his eyes and mouth, hitting him with all my strength. I even bit his hand hard. In return, I received a severe beating.
Damn you, you stubborn woman. Still not giving in after all these days.
He pinned me to the ground, and as I lost consciousness, I suddenly saw the first 23 years of my life. I was born into a well-off family, my parents loved me dearly, and I had just graduated from college a year ago. I had even received an offer from a top company. The stark contrast made it hard to breathe, more suffocating than the beating.
End my suffering, just end it.
If I end you, my 50,000 would be wasted.
I was thrown back into the room. I closed my eyes tightly, thinking about how my parents must be worried sick because they couldn't reach me. Would their hair turn white overnight? And the damned person, it shouldn't have been me, right? I opened my eyes, dragging my aching body to knock on the door.
What's wrong? Haven't had enough of a beating yet?
I'm sorry, I really am. I'll listen to you from now on. Maybe he didn't want his $50,000 investment to suffer too much. He quickly pulled me out and even found a doctor. The doctor was a quack, touching me all over with greasy eyes. I rested in bed for a few days.
Did you buy a woman to pamper her? Get her up to work. Damn city folks are so pampered.
So I was dragged up again. I followed his mother, diligently learning to cut grass to feed pigs, cook food to feed sheep and chickens, and kept praising his mother. All of this was to create the illusion that I would stay here. I was obedient to the extreme, and the beatings became less frequent. Susan would go out and praise that the daughter-in-law she bought was the best in the village. But no matter how obedient, I couldn't escape the fate of having to bear a son for their family.
If my mom hadn't said that your body wasn't well enough for such things, you would have been mine long ago.
I turned my head, gripping the edge of the bed, closing my eyes and swallowing my grievances. One day, I will make you pay. I was kidnapped. The traffickers made me eat and sleep with pigs. All I wanted was to move my car downstairs. How did I end up like this?
Shut your mouth, you wretch.
Mary, standing in front of me, slapped the girl sitting next to me hard. The girl was instantly knocked to the ground, the intense pain reducing her to muffled sobs. When I woke up, I was already on this truck crammed with girls. The truck was pitch dark all around, with only a faint light leaking from the front. The weak light barely illuminated our faces, allowing me to see what Mary looked like. Mary was the one who had just called me to move my car. I had just finished my shower when I received a call from an unknown number. She said my car was blocking hers and asked me to move it because her young son was sick and she needed to rush to the hospital. Although I was puzzled since there were no cars on either side when I parked, her anxious tone made me go downstairs. While talking to her, someone suddenly covered my mouth and nose with a cloth from behind. When I woke up, I was here. My first thought was, I had been kidnapped.
Linda, please let me go home. My family has money. I can give you money. I promise I won't tell anyone. I won't call the police. I can give you as much money as you want.
Let me tell you, once you're on my truck, there's no going back. If you cry and swell your eyes, making it hard for the buyers, I'll sell your organs instead. Whether you want to live or have your organs sold, it's up to you.
The truck drove for an unknown amount of time before finally stopping. We were taken off the truck one by one. But she ran towards the light like a wild dog unleashed.
Please stop hitting me. I'm sorry. I won't run again, I beg you.
My instinct told me I was going to die. This time, I wasn't locked in the small room but left outside, where anyone passing by could kick me. I was covered in wounds, especially my legs. Blood mixed with rainwater flowed to the ground. I stared blankly at the sky, watching a bird flapping its wings. Emily's voice came from next door, her screams growing weaker until they were silent. The man left me outside for several days. One day, he returned looking nervous and bound my mouth and limbs tightly with black tape, throwing me into the small room. A few minutes later, I heard unfamiliar footsteps entering the house.
Shut your mouth, you wretch.
Mary, standing in front of me, slapped the girl sitting next to me hard. The girl was instantly knocked to the ground, her sobs muffled by the intense pain. When I woke up, I was already on this truck crammed with girls. The truck was pitch dark, with only a faint light leaking from the front.
Move it now, or you will regret it.
The weak light barely illuminated our faces, allowing me to see what Mary looked like. She was the one who had just called me to move my car. I had just finished my shower when I received a call from an unknown number.
My car is blocked, and my young son is sick. I need to rush to the hospital. Please move your car.
Although puzzled since there were no cars on either side when I parked, her anxious tone made me go downstairs. While talking to her, someone suddenly covered my mouth and nose with a cloth from behind. When I woke up, I was here. My first thought was, I had been kidnapped.
Linda, please let me go home. My family has money. I can give you money. I promise I won't tell anyone. I won't call the police. I can give you as much money as you want.
Let me tell you, once you're on my truck, there's no going back. If you cry and swell your eyes, making it hard for the buyers, I'll sell your organs instead. Whether you want to live or have your organs sold, it's up to you.
The truck drove for an unknown amount of time before finally stopping. We were taken off the truck one by one. All the household chores fell on me, and at night, I had to sleep with Tom. My life became a repetitive cycle of mundane tasks.
That Emily next door is expecting. Why isn't there any news from our side? Mom, did we buy a hen that can't lay eggs?
With a figure like hers, it shouldn't be a problem. How about I take her for a checkup? If she's a hen that can't lay eggs, we'll sell her and buy another one.
All right.
They cleaned me up and took me to the town hospital. The test results showed that Tom was infertile.
Oh, the heavens are unfair. The Lee family line is going to end. Buying a wife was useless. We wasted $5,000.
Tom's face turned red with shame, and he clenched his fists as he looked at me. He started hitting me, and I screamed and tried to dodge. Tom took out all his anger on me. Since he couldn't have children, Susan wanted to sell me to at least get some money back. They negotiated with a family across the street, but because I was no longer a virgin, they sold me for $1,000. In the village, virginity was highly valued. And I noticed that Tom wasn't very keen on selling me. I thought I could use this to bring down the Lee family. After being sold to the Liu family, I behaved well for a while and earned the chance to go out. Once outside, I seized a moment when no one was around and headed straight for the Li family.
Brother, I'm here to see you.
As soon as Tom came out, I threw myself at him.
That Robert is nothing compared to you. I still can't get used to his place.
You're so sweet. If it weren't for what happened, I wouldn't have let you go to that old cripple. After all, I love holding you the most.
Help! Help! Tom, I'm already Robert's wife. Don't do this. Robert, help!
My loud cries attracted several neighbors, including Robert, known for his strong personality in the village. Seeing his new wife being touched by her ex-husband, he was furious.
You think you can get away with this? I paid good money for her. She's mine now. You want both the money and the wife?
He grabbed a knife and started fighting with Tom.
She came to see me. You dare to hit me? I'll fight you to the end.
I already belong to Robert. I only love him. I'll give him many children.
The onlookers started murmuring.
What? Tom can't have children? He looks so strong.
If he can't have children, what's the use of keeping him? I say those who can't have children don't deserve to live.
No wonder he sold his wife again. The Leaf family line is ending.
What are you idiots talking about? Get out, all of you.
After that, few people approached the Li family, fearing they might catch the same inability to have children. Compared to the Li family, Robert treated me well and never hit me. He would even buy medicine to help me treat old injuries. On the surface, we appeared to be a loving couple. But inside, it felt like a poisoned sword. When I saw Emily again, her belly was already 2 or 3 months pregnant.
I'm sorry. If I hadn't run that way that day, maybe we could have escaped.
Why are you here, Emily?
You've been married to Robert for a month now. Why isn't there any news?
News? What news?
Isn't it better if there's no news? If there's news, they'll treat you better. They used to beat me every day, day and night, and wouldn't give me food. Now that they know I'm expecting, they don't hit me anymore. I've even had several pumpkins these past few days. I haven't had pumpkin in a long time. I think this baby is definitely a boy, don't you think? If it's a boy, I'll be even happier.
What are you talking about, Emily? You're a modern woman, well-educated. Are you going to stoop to their level?
A well-educated woman can't have a son? Besides, David treats me well too. He doesn't hit me anymore and asks me every day what I want to eat. He said if this baby is a boy, he'll love me even more. Anna, since we can't go back, why not just have a son for them? It's better than getting beaten every day.
I stepped back repeatedly, feeling that Emily had gone mad. Not only her, but I was also going mad.
Go away, go away. I don't want to see you anymore.
That night, I had a dream. I dreamed of the time we were on the truck, Emily crying and begging Mary to let her go. It seemed like just a blink of an eye, and she was swallowed by this village that devours people without a trace. I must stay strong and wait for my parents to come and take me away. But no matter how I tried to avoid it, I still ended up expecting Robert's child. When I found out I was pregnant, I hid in the room, hitting my abdomen hard, tears mixing with my fists as they landed on my stomach. But I knew it was futile.
I have a son now. I'll work hard to make money and buy a prettier wife for my son. Unlike some families who can't even have a son.
The Li family and the Liu family had a real feud. A few days later, I heard that the Li family bought a son. As soon as they got him, they stood at the Liu family's door, showing off.
Who doesn't have a son? Don't be jealous that I have a son now.
I looked at the child sleeping in the swaddle, knowing he couldn't imagine that he had already been taken from his mother's arms. The anger in my heart burned even stronger. Scum! Scum who wouldn't even spare a child.
That son isn't even yours. Mine is my own flesh and blood.
They were still competing over whose son was better, but I was thinking about how to send this abducted child away. Robert treated the child in my belly well, and the family had some money, so he would take me to the town for regular checkups. I thought that would be a good opportunity.
The baby is doing well, but the mother should eat more, or the baby will be underweight.
Okay, I'll make sure my wife eats more.
I watched the doctor put away the equipment and seized the moment to hold her hand, smiling.
Thank you, doctor. I will eat well and take care of myself.
Yes.
On the way home, I nervously rubbed my hands, worried that she wouldn't call the police or that she might throw away the paper ball as trash. If this plan fails, I'll have to stay here for another month. I felt like I was going crazy. Emily came again. Her belly had grown significantly, making it hard for her to walk.
How is it? Just like I said, once you have a son, you won't want to leave, right?
Yes. But why are you so sure it's a son? What if it's a daughter? Emily's face turned pale with fear at my words, her previously flushed face suddenly ashen.
Impossible. It has to be a son. If it's not a son, I'll get beaten again. Anna, tell me, it's definitely a son, right?
Yes, it's a son.
Actually, I hoped she was carrying a son rather than a daughter. If it's not a son, it means another girl will be looked down upon by her own family and possibly sold like a commodity. That's too cruel. Emily seemed somewhat reassured by my words, rubbing her belly.
Women are better off having sons. David says daughters are a burden, and I don't want to give birth to a burden.
I quietly watched Emily. I realized she no longer resembled a city person. She seemed to have merged with this devouring mountain, becoming a part of it.
Shut your mouth, you wretch.
Mary, standing before me, slapped the girl beside me so hard she fell to the ground, sobbing from the pain.
There's no going back once you're on this truck. If you cry and ruin your face, I'll sell your organs instead. It's your choice.
When I woke up, I found myself on a truck packed with girls. It was pitch dark, with only a faint light from the front, barely illuminating our faces. I recognized Mary, the woman who had called me to move my car.
You think begging will get you out of this? If you make it difficult for the buyers, I'll sell your organs instead.
The truck stopped after a long, unknown journey, and we were taken off one by one. But I had achieved my goal of delaying. The police brought the village chief to Robert's house and pointed at me.
Is this the woman you abducted?
Yes.
Seeing the police, I felt all my strength leave me, and I quickly grabbed their hands tightly.
Help me, help me.
Tears streamed down my face. I could finally leave this hellish place and go home.
Are you Anna?
Yes, I am.
Where's Emily?
She's in the house opposite mine.
As the police were about to take me away, Robert, unwilling to let go, grabbed my clothes.
Officer, Anna is already carrying my child. You can't just take her away like this, can you?
You are already involved in illegal activities, and you expect to have a child? If Anna doesn't agree, she can still terminate the pregnancy.
Honey, UCI.
Get away from me! I don't want to see you. I don't want to have your child.
I quickly threw myself into the arms of a female officer, closing my eyes tightly. I just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible.
You didn't say that a few days ago, Anna. Didn't you agree to have my child willingly?
Get away!
Robert lost control and tried to hit me. The police restrained him and took him away immediately. We went to find Emily, hoping to bring her back, but she had already run away with Michael. When I returned home, I saw my parents' heads full of white hair. I couldn't imagine their despair while I was suffering. I made a difficult decision regarding my pregnancy immediately. After a few months of recovery in the hospital, I started a new life. I worked hard to become a police officer. When I found a lead on a human trafficking ring, I volunteered to go undercover. When I sat back in that truck again, Mary had already been replaced.
Emily, make sure the girls are secured.
I heard the men calling her Emily. When I was sold back to the village, I saw a girl about 15 or 16 years old calling Emily Mom. She never escaped the mountains, turning into a monster that devours others, and she had a daughter.